A very good morning for everybody watching Paddy Brand Buganda. This is the Global TV. My name is Adrian and this is the program, The Mirror Extra. With me on my left, I have Paddy Brand Sulaiman to break down what has happened in this very past week. It's been a lot. It's been a lot that has happened. It's been a lot that has transpired. And I pray you introduce yourself to the people.
Okay, as usual, my name is Paddy Brian, and yes, he likes calling me the big brain behind the mirrors. And yes, I'm a guest analyst as usual, but I would also want to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to the Muslim community, those that are in their holy months of Ramadan. And I hope today we're going to have a very wonderful program, for getting to know a lot, and for we shall be in position to dissect everything as it happened throughout the week.
We have moved some days into Ramadan, and by this time we wouldn't expect people to do acts of valor, but we just continued seeing people lie, we just continued seeing people do things that are not truthful. Now, this very week, Zake Francis Mutebi was called into Parliament. Remember, the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Litwala Kadaga, had ordered the Government Human Rights Committee to go and probe the torture centers, what they now call, for them they call them prisons, but it's been just found out that they are torture centers. The Speaker ordered immediate probe of the torture centers. It was yesterday Friday. The Human Rights Committee went to Chitalia prison and they found out a lot. People like Nubian Lee, people like Eddie Mutwe, and a lot more people were found there. They were found there suffering, for sure. I don't know what is happening, but I think torture and abduction is too much.
For starters, I would like maybe to correct a thing or two for Nubian Lee's and the military arrests at Makindye prisons. But we know for sure there have been a number of the National Unity Platform followers who got to be arrested during, before and after elections. I know they are in so many places. As last week we told you, here in Uganda indeed we have prisons and also we have safe houses. For any serious government, you cannot really handle issues of leadership without having to fulfill law and also making sure that people live up to law. But it is very ashaming hearing acts of violence, according to a report that was presented by Zake Francis in the National Parliament. He did say that when he visited Kitalia prisons, there he found the inmates being poorly fed, they were not well treated, there were those that were sick, and when they were meant to get treatment, all they could get were painkillers. So this depriving state of one's life is unacceptable. It is something we need actually to fight as a country. Remember, in the whole universe, or for the entire world, we have human rights. And for those human rights, they are not the only rights we look at. There are rights to animals, rights to the dead. So I wonder if we have issues pertaining to torture, psychological torture, to physical torture, then what are we up to as a country? I think that is unacceptable. So it is good for the Parliamentary Human Rights Commission having gone to Kitalia, and I know their objective is to prove what Honorable Zake presented before Parliament. The question is, will this government do anything to improve this? That's another question for another day, and I believe for that question, for it has a number of answers, and those to answer this should be the government themselves.
For what's lacking, that has been just a step, because at least for those ones, we know where they are. However, they may be suffering, however much they may be feeding poorly, however much they may be tortured. but there are a lot of Ugandans whose whereabouts are unknown. And the government came out clearly. They say, for these ones, we know we have this and this number, but for the rest, we don't know where they are. Who has the mandate of keeping Ugandans, Mr. Paddy?
Now, the challenge we have in this country is that, yes, we have a government that has been shaken somewhere, somehow, and sometimes the pressure comes from the opposition. And yes, we can say this or that, but at times you have to excuse the government for it has to deal with the pressures against it. And I so much believe there are also certain other groups that are taking advantage of the pressure raised by the opposition against the government, perhaps to make people go missing. Ideally, it could be a problem brought up by the government itself, but also those other people that have misunderstandings with either a neighbor, with maybe some misunderstanding that has lived for quite a long time. So it's very unfortunate that we still have our own people, those that we do not know where they are. And to me, again, I pass it over the government, because it is the government whose role is to make sure that people and their property are being protected, and then that the security, safety, and stability of this country is really upright. So it is the government's role to ensure that happens.
For starters, it was quite wrong for J.J. Odong, the Internal Affairs Minister, to come out and, you know what, say, we don't know where these are. And he did not take an initiative to look for these people, and yet it is their mandate to cater for the security of these people.
I do believe, yes, as any tactical man, and I would say, what would you expect him to say? He's for God's sake, a military general. You don't look at that gentleman as just any other person. So there are certain things that have to be handled with a lot of intelligence. It would be very stupid for him to come out and say, so we have 1,000 of people under our own incarceration. But I believe the government knows the number of people, those that they have in their hands. Maybe it has no clue over the number of people that go missing through other ways by our fellow nationals, our brothers and sisters, those that also get involved in the game.
But at least what is known is that the people that abduct these people are known, and they are of the government, just like those people who abduct those that we know where they are the very people that abduct those that we don't know where they are.
Now, to me, still the question, the question would rotate about, around torture, the issue of torture. Adrian, you need to allow me to decampaign torture, to really speak against torture with all of myself. Torture is unacceptable. We've seen before victims of torture in Uganda. If you can remember, sometime back, I believe a year or a year and a half ago, we had one of their own NRM, mayor of Kamwenge district, having been victimized just because it was thought probably had something to do with the killing of the then AIGP Felix Kawesi. So the man got out with, all physical torture onto his body. He had wounds all over his knees, for he couldn't even stand, he couldn't even sit. So such are the acts that we speak against. And if we are Uganda, that our president really always preach a secure Uganda, a Uganda for the secure future, so the future has to be secure indeed.
Finally, we are going back to the days of Amin and Obote, because those were the days where they used to abduct people and where they used to kill people for no good reason. Because I'm not seeing that very big reason why these people are being abducted. Anyway, matters of the reasons could be yet discrete factors of yet another day. This very week we saw Tamare Miruni's son, Tamare Miruni Jr. coming out to back at Basada, who had said in the beginning that, you know what, this, because he's yet another victim of torture. We don't know who tortured him, but he's yet another victim of torture. But what we know is that he's a supporter of the National Unity Platform. So he came out this week back at Basada Mivule, who had came out to say that he was beaten in a bar. But the way he backed back was actually wanting, because the other one is he's an old man and this one is actually a youth. Around 23 years.
Adrian, allow me to say, you have a saying in I don't know whether it's a saying, but a belief that so it is expected from Tamale Minundi Jr., since his father, this is the way how he acts. And I believe, to me, it's high time that we need to address issues smartly with a lot of ethics, but as well as respecting one another. When you look at this young man, for he jumps from one person to another, we've had stories of him insulting a whole general, the first son of this nation, that is Hozi Kainorugaba. And this, for your information, is a kind of person who's quiet spoken. He has never, come out he himself to kind of counter attack or do any reaction against every abuse that Ugandans do. So this young man could have been assaulted, right? And I believe, yes, it was wrong for Basaja Mivuli, is it in Solon-Kambwe, to come out and saying that this young man's assault, it is something he so deserved. But I believe other, words that he came up with, like having to blame this young man of jumping from one woman to another, kissing them. I mean, that is quite ridiculous. He's a young man. He's a son to Tamale Mirundi, who we know he's rich enough. I do not know why this young man jumps from one old woman to another. I, for one, am concerned. The last time we knew it, he was with Shiba. He did also say that he loved Shiba. Another time I saw this young man, for he was kissing the old and almost his own grandma, Don Zella. So I do believe when old people do come out and try to put us right, sometimes they are right. So both of them have got issues. I think to me, Basaja Mivule should revise on the way how he at times handle issues, but also that Tamale Mirundi's family should have something to do with respecting Ugandans and also behaving as expected.
But at least even then, Basaja Mivule either came out and did some things that were not good. He has always been here speaking issues of dogs and ducks and whatever. Nobody has ever come out to attack him. Anyway, those that have attacked him, no one has come out to attack him in person. But here he is coming out because, first of all, for your information, the man lost credibility because of the way he lost his side from NUP to NRM for no good reason, just for cars and what. He lost credibility. I don't think he would be the right person to go and cancel Tamale Mirundi's son, and I don't think what he did was cancelling.
I wouldn't want to sound defending this man. I believe there is a saying in English that a wise man always changes his mind. So it is not he himself the first person to have crossed from one side to another. You have to look at National Unity Platform itself, for it is made up of so many politicians that were once of one party and now they cross to the other party. I believe you still remember the scandal between Honorable Betty Namboze and his own DP party president, Norbert Mao. At one time they had to label themselves, named each other names, as one being, if you can remember, a watermelon. And it was because for Norbert Mao's thought, Betty Namboze deserves such a name. To Norbert Mao, he took Betty Namboze as this watermelon, inside the red, no, and then outside the green. Democratic Party. So the issue of Basajja Mivule rather, Solon Kambe crossing to NRM, that is something any smart person can do. But I think to me he has to think other ways on how he can bounce back, other than getting to be a bit dramatic. That's not his thing. We know Basajja Mivule, Solomon Kambwe, of being such a senior investigative journalist, a man who speaks out his mind, and a man who's respected, and a man who's very genius. I do believe if he goes back to that trend, other than having to go for showbiz of the likes of the young Tamale Mironi Jr., he can make it right.
Anyway, this story could sound as a showbiz story, but we just found it important because Tamale Mironi Jr. is a politician and Basajja Mivule is also a politician. Away from that, Peter Maiga, he instructed people to mind their own business, to get some things to do, to get out of what he called Lugambo. By the way, the president of this country has always come out to talk about gossip on social media and elsewhere. What's your take about this? Because these very people that he was telling had just came out, I think, days back. They said that the Katikiro is concerned, is responsible for the ill health of the Kabaka. By the way,
Adrian, to stop you from there, I think this nonsense of having to deal with the sickness, I mean, to say or comment about the sickness of His Highness, the Kabaka of Buganda, I think it's high time we stopped all the nonsense we see on social media. We've seen it time and again. People are gossiping, spreading propaganda, telling the world that Kabaka is under incarceration. That is totally a lie. We've seen Kabaka being immunized before. A week ago, he was seen shopping at a supermarket. The other day, he was seen jogging around. So he's not under incarceration. And whatever is happening is wrong in this country. This country has got a section of time wasters, especially those on social media and even those outside, those that not really feed information on social media. I mean, we have heard from our brethren in the diaspora, those saying that Kabaka is under siege, and it is high time for United Kingdom to come out so that they can rescue the Kabaka, take him for treatment, for better treatment in the outside medical facilities. All that is wrong. It is propaganda. It is aiming at destroying Peter Maiga. If I can get it right here, we also have an issue. Of an attack on Peter Maiga this week. For a number of leaflets were dropped at Mengo demanding for Kabaka to be taken for treatment and having Maiga's immediate resignation. These were, sort of placards, sort of anonymous, idiotic letters, or you can call it cheats or whatever kind you can call them. So they get to be dropped around Mengo in trying to destroy Peter Maiga, who has worked, I believe, for this Buganda kingdom. He has done it all. He did what his predecessors never did. So to me, I believe it is high time to call white and black. Let's live up to the truth. Let's go in for the truth and we denounce the lies.
Well, truth be told, something could be going wrong, but then the Buganda also seem to be becoming irrational. They are becoming indisciplined, because when you look back in the days, nobody could question the decision of the Kabaka. If the Kabaka has decided Maiga to be his prime minister, who are you to come out and order for immediate sacking? To be honest, because the Kabaka cannot be questioned. Who are you to come and order for the immediate sacking of Maiga, yet you're not the one who appointed him?
I think that comes still as a result of either lack of intelligence, or lacking information or failure deliberately to understand the situation and the principles on ground. So I believe that appointment of premiership for Buganda Kingdom is in hand of His Highness the Kabaka of Buganda. So it is quite unfortunate that by this time, even when we don't know what the Kabaka is thinking and who he would wish to replace Peter Maiga, for those who waste their time, for those who are a basket of time wasters and seeming to be idlers, they are speculating over the resignation of Peter Maiga or dismiss of Peter Maiga, and they are also speculating on who is coming on board soon. I believe they are soon telling the Kabaka that this is why you have to go, this is how you have to do things, this is how the kingdom has to run. So I wonder if that happens, will that give the Kabaka his powers? Will we then still call Kabaka Maguru Nyondo? You understand? For he deserves better. So we need to respect His Majesty, the Kabaka of Uganda, Ronald Mwenda Mutebi II.
Well, I think the Baganda should come down about this issue. The Kabaka is still sane and he understands everything that is happening and he will do the needful. This very week, Bobi Wine's cows, no, it was re-levied. The tax was re-levied. Remember some time back, I think it was in the month of either February or March, this Ahmad car came in and it made rounds on social media. They taxed it, he took it to his home. Weeks later, the car was recaptured. It was taken to URA. It has been re-levied and very, very, very alarming figures have been put across the board. It should be paid for some more tax, and it is some 337 million.
I believe yes, this is happening, and at this time I know that for Bobi Wine or Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, as people call him, the people's president, they call him, we don't know whether that is a reality, but a section of Ugandans called him. I know by this time he must be knowing better that he's dealing with the real mafias. It has always been said, it is the mafias who brought him to power. Because if you can remember the way how he acquired the National Unity Platform as a party, it was, this political party, a small party under national resistance movement. So whatever is going through, it is the acts of the mafias. And to me, they will either keep him down or leave him where he is, or take him out.
Before you even go further,
yes,
who are the mafias? Because we have heard people say this, and we are just tired of listening to something we don't understand.
You want to fall in trouble because by questioning who are the mafias, you want me to tell you who are the ghosts. We've never seen the ghosts before, but the ghosts exist. Mafias are in place, and I believe they do a lot. And he, as Bobi Wine, he is in the best position to tell you who the mafias are. He is a product of the mafias. We should accept that. So ideally, I believe, does this work out for him? Yes. He is Bobi Wine. He's the principal of National Unity Platform. And this car we're talking about, it is of a hell of money. The last time I heard of its figure, it is about $4 million US. If that is the car he bought, what is 330 million shillings that has been levied as tax for that car? So he, as Bobi Wine, coming out, especially by his post on social media, making an outcry to the world. I believe it is one way or another of his scheme to have fundraise, and I know that his sponsors within and outside country are going to raise that money. This car will get out of the URA hands, and very soon we shall see it back to him.
With me, I thought the issue could be the vehicle being armored, facts of the licenses, who gave him permission to do that, how did he get the car here. All of that is not the case. The case is just the tax. The simplest thing is the one that is becoming hard, and I'm just wondering, because he alleges that the car was got out of fundraising from the diehards of their country, because the person who cares for Bobi Wine cares for Uganda. So it was as a result of fundraising from the people in the diaspora, and they voted to him.
I do believe those who could have bought this car for the principle of national unity platform will fundraise for the taxi that has been levied on this very car. This car, in the first place, let's ask ourselves, is it in hands of the military? Because armored vehicles are known to be for their security. And if anyone has an armored vehicle, then there should be this big a person within the society. So I believe the question is not, querying an armored vehicle by our system, by our security system. The question is having taxes for this very car. So the taxes, the taxi that has been levied will be paid, and he, as Bobi Wine, this works for him because it is one way or another of soliciting money from his own supporters within and outside for him to have the finances he wants. We've seen him do a lot of things. By the way, we need also to look at this. This thing, is it of a disadvantage to him? No. Ever since Bobi Wine came into politics, for he has raised the flag. The last time I looked at his figure when he was a musician, he was, he was at $6 million USA dollars. The next time I saw something about his wealth in money, it is estimated at $18 million. That's a lot of money. Where is he getting this? Out of politics. So I believe this whole thing, this whole ruckus works for him, and to me, that is one of those things I call drama.
But again, this is really drama, because I don't know what the car has got in Uganda that it did not get, that it did not have at the border. I don't know what these people have seen about this car in Uganda that they did not see at the border.
Anyway, as we wind up, I believe maybe time is against you, Adrian. We need to understand that when at these URA borderlines, we have the security. So I'm wondering, by the time this car crossed border, wherever it's crossed from Kenya to Uganda, weren't they security officers? So couldn't they help the URA officials to tell that this was an armored vehicle? That is a question of another day, and the answer, I believe you have it. I believe they have it.
Well, one of the last issues in today's The Mirror Extra is the issue of the sanctions. The top officials of this government were sanctioned from traveling to USA. It is alleged they were sanctioned, and it is a travel ban, no more traveling to USA to some people in the government of the son of Esther Amos.
Now, to me, I take that as idiotic kind of talk as well, because USA, making a travel ban to UPDF officials, how can that be? How do you seem to say that I hate this woman so much, so we divorced, yet we see you in the same bed every day and again? What are the UPDF soldiers doing in Somalia? Who do they work for? It is America. So can America go against those that they work with, those that are in cahoots to exploit this world with? I know that UPDF has done a lot for the United States of America. They are in Somalia for United States of America. They do work in Central Africa for United States of America. They divided our Sudan, that big country, just for the sake of United States of America. So that is just yet another drama. Remember, we had an issue to do with a Navy ship that docked at Port Mombasa, around the East African coast. By that time, a number of time wasters, a number of idlers here in Uganda, this state, now this is the end of the regime. They have come for him. This is their own. This is their darling. They cannot do anything against this man unless otherwise. But they cannot do it. This is a man who has done it all for them. This is a man they want. They can't really come for you, yet they can't opt for you, yet you are not going to give them anything again. So to me, issues to do with the travel ban of our UPDF soldiers, yet just a week ago, we saw some expected names to be under that travel ban being adorned in Somalia by the officials from the United States of America themselves. That is rubbish. We cannot, I for one, I cannot put that in my head. It is something that other people can believe, but I will never believe such. It is something like related to some document that was posted on the social media saying that the Kabaka had dismissed Peter Manga. So people believed it. That is stupidity for sure. You need to think beyond what you hear. You need to think beyond what you read. You need to think beyond anything you hear of. So that is one of the things that I cannot believe in. If it so came from the US Embassy or the US government, it was done in the name of trying to calm down the tempo of Ugandans, those that are against the torture in this country. But it's not realistic.
Well, it could have been the fact that it was done is just there. The thing was done by the US Embassy. What we don't know, what we are not sure of, is the generosity of the document. Well, we are coming to the very end of the mirror. The next week, it's expected that the next week will be the preparation stages for the commencement of marking of the UCE exams. A word or two about that.
Though I come from that world, for the people who know me, but allow me just to say the best students, perform to their expectations, because they started from senior 1 to senior 4, or from primary 1 to primary 7. So with UCE exams, I would think the best students, those that worked hard and for their sweat, they should really reap the best results out of them.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we just want to thank you for watching. That has been it for today. That has been it for the Mirror Extra. We just hope to see you next week on this very YouTube channel. I've been Adrian Charleston with the deep brain Paddy Sulaiman. I pray you subscribe more on Paddy Uganda. I pray you view more, and I pray you tell some more people to view more, because you always have a lot and we are still bringing a lot. That has been it for today. Thank you for watching. Have a nice weekend.
Have a nice